This is the Greek Word of the Day with James Gregory. Welcome to the Greek Word of the Day. Today we have os. Os, it's the relative pronoun, who, which. Now the masculine is os. I believe if you're using Erasmian pronunciation, it's hos. The feminine is e. It looks just like the definite article with one exception. That's right. It has an accent. So you probably remember me saying before, accents don't really matter except for when they do. And here's an instance when it matters. And then the neuter is o. Okay, so if you're using Erasmian pronunciation, I think it's hos, he, ha, I think. But I pronounce it os, e, o. Okay? So it's a relative pronoun. Who, which, what, that. Okay? But it could be quite flexible. So it's definitely something you may need to look up in either BDAG or in the Basics of Biblical, Beyond the Basics of Biblical Greek by Daniel B. Wallace, and other grammars as well. As a general rule, the relative pronoun agrees in gender and number with the noun or pronoun to which it refers, and that's called its antecedent. Its case is determined by the verb, noun, or preposition that governs it. Okay? So just keep that in mind. You can have a relative clause with its own verb and own subject, but it's not the main verb. The relative pronoun will be in either the nominative, genitive, dative, or accusative based on which word it is governed by. Okay? In other words, to which word is it attached? And then that'll determine its case. Now, a demonstrative pronoun is frequently concealed within the relative pronoun in such a way that both pronouns stand in the same case. For example, os, os. Is that right? Osu lambani. I guess so. What this is saying is the relative pronoun can function or be interpreted as a demonstrative. Okay? So examples would be the one who, of the one whose, to the one to whom, the one whom, to those for whom, something like that. The two pronouns can also stand in different cases. In such instances, the demonstrative pronoun is nearly always in the nominative or accusative. Let's see. Only in isolated instances does the demonstrative pronoun to be supplied stand in another case. So, for example, you might get it in dative. So, this is something to pause and just understand. Os is flexible. I would really encourage you actually follow Wallace on this one. I think he's got a better layout than BDAG for how to see os and its semantic or syntactic functions. Now, there are some constructions peculiar in some respect where the pleonastic use of the personal pronoun after os is found. Look at gini, is, ichen, to, thigatrion, avtis. but it's generally suggested by Semitic languages. So the omission of avtis is in the Variolectionae, in line with Greek usage in some instances, like Matthew 3:12. Or is that right? Matthew 3:12? Might be Mark 7:25, actually. So when you see this relative plus personal pronoun, it's usually because of Semitic syntax. There are other constructions. Relative in the singular refers to something in the plural. There's a relative in the plural refers to a singular. So the relative pronoun is funny. Maybe even drunk. It does some weird things. The relative conforms to the natural gender rather than the grammatical gender of its antecedent noun. Tekna mu. Us. Tekna is neuter. Us is masculine. So the grammatical gender of tekna is neuter, right? Wait. I think I'm wrong on that. Hold on. No, it is neuter. So the grammatical gender is neuter of the head noun, but us is masculine plural, following natural gender. So that's one example. There's attraction or assimilation of the relative, just as in, they're giving examples from Attic and whatnot. The simple relative os is sometimes attracted to the case of its antecedent, even though the relationship of the relative within its own clause would demand a different case. Okay, so what that's saying is sometimes the relative will simply match the word it's attaching to. In most instances, it is the accusative of the relative that is attracted to the genitive or dative of the antecedent. Peri pragmatos ou eon etisonte. So here the relative is genitive, ou, and it looks like it's attaching to peri pragmatos, which is genitive. So what's happening is ou relative is supposed to be the accusative, but it switched to genitive. The dative of the relative is less frequently attracted, but can happen. Eos tis imeras is anel limphthi. Acts 1:22. Eos is genitive here. Is is genitive. That's the relative clause, but it should have been dative. So you can see sometimes some weird things happen. In relative clauses that consist of subject, predicate, and copula, the relative pronoun sometimes agrees in gender number, not with the noun to which it refers, but with the predicate if it is the subject. And conversely, with the subject if it is the predicate of its own clause. So it's a funny word. There's inverse attraction, where it occurs with the relative pronoun attracting its antecedent to its own case. There's attraction where it fails to take place when the relative clause is more distinctly separated from its antecedent by additional modifiers of the noun and by the importance, yada, yada, yada. Okay. There's a lot of technicalities here. I'm going to stop there. Just look it up in Wallace. Wallace is much easier to digest and follow in order to use and interpret, okay? Now, there's one other gloss on this. No pun intended. And it means this. This is where the relative pronoun is a more proper demonstrative pronoun and is translated this one or he. So os de is but he. Os men, os de is the one, the other. Some or others, depending on what's included there, like amen, ade. So there's a bunch of demonstrative uses, and they're typically combinations with other words, conjunctions, particles, etc. So you'll need to look that up each time because there's a ton of them. So, whew, this was a highly technical word. All you really need to know is TLDR, os, e, o is the relative pronoun meaning who, which, that, this, what, something like that. Okay? Go get some water, get a refreshment after that one. That was a tough one. But we are going to be back at it tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, translating 1 John. I hope you're excited. We'll be in chapter 1. We will do a little bit of review to prepare for the content of chapter 1. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It might take us an hour and a half. It might take us longer. So I hope you're ready. And hit subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Come back again tomorrow. Well, we will have another word of the day tomorrow. But our exciting stuff will be live translating 1 John. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.